All right, guys, welcome to our Poop Tip Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for joining me today. So, on today's show, we have a couple of great questions that I want to go through today. A couple of things I'll let you guys know. Number one, I'm going to do something a little bit different on today's Poop Tip Tuesday. I'm going to maybe discuss a topic in depth. So, I did a poll for my audience, and I think that the topic I'm going to talk about is going to be gluten, everything you need to know about gluten, celiac disease, and issues like that. Number two, we're going to answer any questions you guys have live as well. Put them in the comments down below. And we'll do a deep dive into any other topics you guys have as well. So if you're joining for the first time, my name is Dr. Islam. And yes, I am your poop guru. I'm a board certified gastroenterologist trained at the Mayo Clinic. And my passion is to give you the best tips and tricks so you can live your best life from the top all the way down to the bottom. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and newsletter where you can get great tips and tricks and notifications of everything that's going on in the world of GI. If you want to know the greatest and latest what you can do to help out with your gut and when I'm going to go on live, the newsletter by far is the most important thing. So a couple of things, if you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay. And also let me know where you guys are watching this at so far. We have a couple of great questions. Jean's good seeing you. Jones, good seeing you. Art's good seeing you guys as well. Thank you guys for watching on the live stream so far. So thank you guys. All right. So let me just remove this. A couple of things we'll talk about. So number one, I started a new book. So I'm excited to let you guys know about my new book, The Wager. So I picked this up at Costco. You can see the Costco sticker right there. So far, it's a book about shipwreck, mutiny, and murder. I just got started, so just barely starting it, but I just finished the Matthew McConaughey Greenlight book. Finished it last week. I got this as a recommendation from one of my residents. It was a great book. Big fan. I was surprised about how good of a book this was. I did not expect that great of a book from Matthew McConaughey. So let me know in the comments down below if you read that book as well, or what you guys think. And for my fiction book, Michael Connelly book, Blood Work. Once again, I'm a huge crime novel fan. I've been really getting into Michael Connelly and his books. And so I've been kind of just pouring over these books. I'm a big fan of these, so I'm excited to go and get this one started as well. All right. So before we go into live questions, let's do a deep dive into a topic people always ask you about: gluten, celiac. What is going on? So let me know in the comments down below if you know exactly what the issue is with gluten intolerance, celiac disease, or this whole thing going on with wheat. So we've seen this explosion in the past couple of months and the past couple of years about the fear of gluten and wheat, and it seems to be the root of all evil from what I can see on social media, what people put out, and what people are assuming could be the cause for a lot of their issues, not only inside the gut but outside the gut as well. So what exactly is going on? So gluten is a molecule that's it's in wheat, oats, and bran that acts as a substance to kind of keep that food together, and it's been seen in some individuals to cause a lot of issues both in the GI tract and outside the GI tract as well. Now, there's a lot of stuff on the news and the media about the dangers of gluten, the concerns about gluten, and how gluten can be kind of the end-all be-all when it comes to gut disease. So the way we want to think about this is that we want to separate this out into two different camps. What's called gluten sensitivity and what is actually called celiac disease. That's an important distinction. So let's talk about gluten sensitivity first, because this seems to be the topic that we see a lot on social media. What exactly is gluten sensitivity? So gluten sensitivity is the fact that certain foods like wheat, oat, and bran have gluten in them, and for some individuals they tend to be a lot more sensitive when they ingest that gluten. By sensitivity, they can have symptoms of bloating, pain, nausea, distension, upset stomach, and diarrhea. This is a pretty common phenomenon we are seeing more and more, and it may not be related to gluten as well. There's actually other food ingredients in which gluten is a part of, that we are seeing a lot of people becoming a lot more intolerant to, and these foods in particular are called the low FODMAP foods, FODMAP. And we have seen that more and more people are actually having intolerance to that, leading to conditions such as bloating, irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, and indigestion as well. And gluten tends to be one of these particular foods. However, gluten tends to be the easiest kind of culprit because we see a lot of gluten-free things and a lot of things that are there's been more of a consciousness when it comes to gluten issues than it is for some of the other foods that are there. So what do we do if we suspect somebody has what's called a gluten intolerance? Well, you will know because when you have things like wheat, oat, bran, or foods that have gluten, maybe even pizza, you will notice your symptoms tend to get a lot worse. What symptoms? The ones I just talked about: pain, bloating, itching, pressure, diarrhea, just kind of not feeling very, very good. And you may also have non-GI symptoms from this as well. A very common one is brain fog. A lot of people have brain fog as a cause of gluten issues as well. Sometimes joint issues can be related to that as well. Sometimes even hair loss, alopecia, fatigue. These things can be non-GI symptoms that people can sometimes relate to gluten issues, and this can be a reason why you start to avoid these foods because you start to feel better when you eliminate these particular carbohydrates. Now, how do we test for gluten or non-celiac gluten sensitivity? We don't have a medical test, and this is very important because you will see all sorts of labs out there in which you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars in which they tell you we can test you for any food allergies with a blood testing, and we can check you to see if you have gluten issues or not. The biggest thing you need to know about these tests is that they are false, they're full of it, they're a waste of money, and they're basically just telling you something you don't really need to know. These tests cost thousands of dollars, and I've had so many patients waste their money, have stress, and avoid foods they shouldn't because they thought that this test would give them the information that they need. It does not, 100%. The best way for us to know if you have a gluten issue is to do a gluten challenge, meaning you ingest gluten and see how you feel, and you eliminate gluten to see how you feel. That's all you will literally need. That's it. And if you do that, you'll just know if gluten tends to be an issue for you as well. And if you want to go into more specifics, is it really gluten or is it maybe a different food? It's best to do this under the guidance of a nutritionist, which you can eliminate a lot more foods and slowly reintroduce these foods. So what do we do if we suspect somebody has gluten intolerance? Very easy. All you do is that you have them avoid gluten. And that's the important thing. And you will know sometimes when you ingest gluten because these symptoms will come back. Now, usually non-celiac gluten sensitivity does not have any long-term complications. You don't lose nutritional issues unless you really don't. Unless you really restrict your diet, you don't have any long-term consequences. You don't become anemic from this or any other problems from that. And that's the important thing to realize as well. And if you have non-celiac gluten sensitivity, this is not a genetic condition. It's not passed down from your mom to your dad to your children. It's not a genetic predisposition that can cause these siblings or parents or you get them from or cousins to have these issues. Now, this is very different from another condition called celiac disease. Now, celiac disease is an actual autoimmune disease in which your body attacks itself whenever you ingest gluten. This is actually, your body's actually fighting the villi in your small intestine to cause them to get cut off whenever you ingest gluten. Your body's attacking itself whenever you have these foods. Now, celiac disease can present almost the exact same way as gluten intolerance. Pain, nausea, bloating, diarrhea, distension, hair loss, brain fog, joint issues. But you can also have laboratory values that are different in celiac disease. You could be anemic, for example. Your liver numbers could be high, for example. You could have a vitamin D deficiency or have early onset osteoporosis. In some individuals, you could also be infertile as well. And so these are non-GI symptoms that are only in celiac disease, but not in gluten intolerance. Now, we actually do have testing to see if you actually have celiac disease. The test that we do, the first test, is called a TTG. It's a blood test, a tissue transglutaminase. This is the first screening test for us to see if celiac disease may be a reason why you're having the issues. And if it's high, then we know that we may want to consider celiac disease. If it's low or normal, then Maybe you don't have that. The important thing about getting the blood testing is that you have to be on a gluten-rich diet. And this is hard for a lot of my individuals and patients who go on a gluten-free diet and feel better. You need to be on a gluten-rich diet because we need to see if you truly have celiac disease. And so if we have a elevated TTG, what we do next that we do in what's called an upper endoscopy or an EGD, where I go down and I actually take a sample of your small intestine and we look at it under the microscope to see, do you have damage from celiac disease or not? Because if you do, the combination of the blood tests and the upper scope combined tells me you have celiac disease. What do? How do we treat this? What's the big deal? Well, it's the exact same treatment as a gluten-free diet, as a gluten sensitivity, except for a couple of things. Number one, you have to realize that gluten is not just in foods. It could be in makeup. It could be in lotion. It could be in other things you don't realize. So for people who have celiac disease, they have to remove gluten from everything. Toothpaste, makeup, lotion, not just gluten that you ingest. And that's the important thing. That's different from gluten sensitivity, in which you don't necessarily have to do that. Number two is that celiac disease does have some long-term complications. I mentioned before, you become anemic. Your liver numbers can be high. You can have vitamin D deficiency. You can have early onset osteoporosis. And there is the possibility for continual gluten ingestion to develop lymphoma or a cancer of your small intestine. You will not have this with gluten sensitivity. The other important thing to realize when it comes to celiac disease is that it can be passed down. Absolutely. If you have celiac disease, you need to check your children to make sure they don't have it, and your siblings need to be checked as well to make sure that they don't have it as well with that blood test that we talked about before. And so keep in mind, if you have celiac disease, that does change what the options are for you, but also for your children, your siblings, and your loved one as well. If you don't have these issues, if you don't have gluten issues, if you don't have celiac disease, then don't worry about it. Gluten in and of itself is not scary. It's not dangerous. It's not bad for you. If you don't have any gut issues, don't even sweat it. It's not a big deal. I ingest gluten all the time. Who gives a flip? I am not worried about inflammation in my body just because I ingested gluten. As long as you don't have celiac disease, or as long as you don't have gluten intolerance, you are perfectly fine. Do not just not ingest gluten for the sake of not ingesting gluten because of the fact that you were worried about causing inflammation, irritation, or badness going on inside your body. Don't be like that. I don't want gluten. I don't want you to be scared of ingesting gluten because you heard from somebody who's not a doctor, unlike me, who I am, who told you that gluten is something scary to have. All right, so that's my spiel, my soapbox on gluten. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about these kind of one-off topics. Let me know if you guys are enjoying this, want me to do more of these or not. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, don't forget to let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay. And also don't forget to let me know where you guys are watching this at. I love to hear where my audience is from. If you're joining for the first time, my name is Dr. Islam, and every couple of Tuesdays I go live on my social media streams. If you want to learn more or to join me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter where I can give you information on exactly when I'm going on and what topics I'll be talking about as well. All right, let's talk about some questions here. Art asks, can GERD cause temporary swallowing difficulty? Great question, Art. So the answer to this is yes, absolutely it can. In fact, long-term reflux can lead to a condition called a stricture, which can cause swallowing problems to occur as well. So absolutely. But keep in mind, swallowing issues is never normal, even if you don't have GERD. So you need to get investigated with that. The way we can do this, we can do an upper endoscopy. We can see what's going on. We can see if you have a stricture. We can see if you have a narrowing. We can also check for a cancer because that's the main thing that we worry about. And if that's the case, we can sometimes fix it or find out what's going on. So yes, reflux or GERD can lead to swallowing issues. If you ever have swallowing issues, make sure you see a GI doctor because that is not normal to have. All right. Sadia asks, good question. Is apple cider vinegar safe to take every day for low stomach acid? Well, Sadia, let me tell you, the frank answer is we don't know. We have absolutely no idea. None of us know the answer to that. And I will tell you, you're ingesting vinegar, which is an acidic compound, to your stomach. And I've seen plenty of patients who've done that who actually make their stomach issues worse. They get worsening reflux, worsening ulcers, worsening irritation. So unfortunately, we have no idea. We have no evidence. And if that was the case, a lot of us in the GI world, we would be recommending to take more acid, like HCl tablets, which we have no evidence for. So I'll be very cautious for you to do that. And I'll be very cautious and worried about some of the consequences from that. All right. So Mike asks, having experimented with thyroid supplementation, is it possible to poop too much? Is there nutrient absorption such as vitamin B12 compromised when passing too quickly in terms of peristalsis? Great question, Mike. And the answer is yes. Absolutely. So this is one of the reasons why when you have diarrhea, you're so volume depleted because of the fact that you're losing all the electrolytes, all the minerals, and all the vitamins. So it's a fine line between pooping too much and not pooping enough. But yes, you can. If you poop too much to the point where you're having diarrhea or having watery stools or things are just coming out, absolutely positively, that can be a problem. And absolutely, positively, that can be a reason why you can have some problems with absorption, nutrient deficiencies, and things like that. Great question. All right, perfect. So Christine, you are watching from Guyana. So you so far are the winner of Washington. Thank you for watching that. Shelly, thank you for watching as well. And my great question as well. All right. So Gene asked, does drinking coffee cause diarrhea? All right, let me know in the comments down below if you suffered from diarrhea or loose stools when you have coffee, because the answer is yes, it does. Absolutely does. In fact, this is one of the tricks that I recommend to help out with constipation. When you drink coffee, it allows you to actually have better bowel movements, more effective bowel movements. It does a couple of things to help out. Number one, actually helps stimulate what's called the gastric colic reflex. This is a reflex whenever you ingest coffee or something hot into your stomach. It triggers your stomach to wake up and peristalsis and move things along as well to allow things to pass through. Number two is coffee also has certain oils in it to allow you to have better bowel movements and more effective bowel movements, and maybe even cause, helps out with constipation. So yes, there are multiple reasons why coffee can help you go. It's one of the tricks that I recommend when it comes to constipation. Typically, I recommend try it in the morning. Helps to stimulate your bowels, wake you up, allow things to pass through a lot easier as well. Great question. All right, Diana, is it dangerous to use PPIs long term? Oh, the big question. I love this question because we have so many questions when it comes to PPI use. So what are PPIs? PPIs are called proton pump inhibitors. Helps to decrease acid, and we use this for a number of different reasons, whether you have symptomatic GERD, whether you have a condition called Barrett's esophagus or precancerous lesion of the esophagus, whether you have another condition called eosinophilic esophagitis, whether you have an ulcer inside your stomach or your esophagus, whether you have whether you're on blood thinners and you need to protect your stomach. So you bring up a very good question. We do know there are some side effects that are true when it comes to long-term PPI use. There is a risk of developing osteoporosis and hip fractures, specifically in postmenopausal women. There is some issues for kidney problems for some individuals. It's called interstitial nephritis. We know there may be some vitamin deficiencies, magnesium, B12, vitamin D, and calcium. We also know that for some individuals, it may predispose you to developing some bacterial infection inside your GI tract. What I tell all my patients is there are some reasons to be on a PPI, which you must. There's some reasons which you maybe don't need to be on a PPI. We can maybe try some lifestyle changes as well. And so I would recommend speaking to your doctor to see which case you're at and what you need to do. Keep in mind, I would never, ever, ever recommend for you to get off your PPI without speaking to your doctor, because there may be a good, legitimate reason why you're on that PPI. I've had plenty of patients, unfortunately, that got themselves off the PPI and developed a life-threatening ulcer. So make sure you do your homework to talk to your doctor to find out exactly why you are on that PPI and see if you can get it safely off as well. All right, if you're joining for the first time, my name is Dr. Islam, and yes, I am your poop guru. Every couple of Tuesdays, go live on my social media streams. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and newsletter, and go to my webpage, SamirIslam.com, so you can get more information on how to subscribe. Let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay, and also let me know where you guys are watching this at as well. Love to hear where my audience is coming from. All right, let's see here. All right, Gina, let's see. So Shelly asks, what are my thoughts about using chia seeds for helping number 2? Oh, great question. I am a huge fan of chia seeds, absolutely. And whenever I have a smoothie, I mix up chia seeds in my smoothie. Do it, do it, do it. It's fiber. Fiber is great for your gut health. Fiber is great to help you go. Number 2, absolutely, positively use chia seeds. Chia, chia, chia. Yes, we all want to chant chia. Let me know in the comments down below if you've used chia seeds as well to help out with constipation. It's fantastic. It works great. I'm so happy you're doing that. Perfect. All right. So Joe asked a good question. Joe, thank you for watching from Houston. So Joe asked, I've been drinking water and eating healthy and eating fiber, but I'm still constipated. What is going on? And Joe, I appreciate that. Here's the issue when it comes to constipation is that you can do everything right. You can drink more water. You can eat more fiber. You can live a healthy lifestyle. You can exercise. You can have that coffee and still be constipated. And that's okay, because some people, it may need more of a push to get things going and flowing. So if that's the case, you may want to speak to your doctor about what you can use safely to help you go. It is very safe to use a daily Miralax as long as we understand why you are constipated. So that may need further investigation to find out what's going on, but it's okay. It doesn't mean anything is wrong. Some people just have a slower colon, not a big deal. But if you want to add some Miralax, it's very safe, but make sure you speak to your doctor about seeing exactly if there's something else we need to do to hopefully help out with that constipation as well. Diane, thank you for watching in North Carolina. I appreciate it. All right. Perfect. All right, guys. I think those are most of the questions here. Gene asked, does metformin and B12 cause diarrhea? So I'm not sure about the B12, but metformin absolutely does. Very common cause of diarrhea is medications that we give you. So things like metformin, or what are called angiotensin receptor blockers, or ARBs, which are used for blood pressure. Very common reason to have constipation or diarrhea, and very common easy fix. We just stop the metformin or stop the medication to help out with the diarrhea. Yes, very, very common. Very good. All right. So Mike, you have a good question. Aspirin gives me tinnitus, and I think there may be connection to the endotoxin leaking from the GI tract due to aspirin's antiprostaglandin effect. Does my pet theory have merit? So good question. Aspirin does have a antiprostaglandin effect. I do not know if we have any evidence that causes tinnitus. So you're probably correct, but I don't know the answer to the other one. So I sorry I can't give you a complete answer on that. All right, guys. I think these are most of the questions I have. So let me know in the comments down below. A, for watching this live in the replay. Number 2, where you guys are watching this at. So far, our winner today, it is Christine from Guyana. Thank you for watching from Guyana. Thank you for watching live. Let me know what you guys think about me doing a deep dive on a topic. Let me know if there's a topic you want me to do a deep dive on as well. I'd love to see down below. Let me know if you have any other questions you want me to discuss or anything else as well. Hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you guys on future Poop Tip Tuesdays. Thanks, everyone.